Was that a different team out there on the court as the Pelicans ended their 5-game losing streak with a massive win over the Dallas Mavericks? Well, it was and it wasn't, and I'll explain in today's show. Plus, I have the most ridiculous stat for you, and Jordan Hawkins might look like the steal of the draft. It's Locked On Pelicans. Let's go.
You are Locked On Pelicans, your daily New Orleans Pelicans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On Pelicans, the daily podcast covering your favorite team, the New Orleans Pelicans and NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, available wherever you get your podcasts and available on YouTube. I'm your host, Pelicans Insider, credential member of the media, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter. Here with y'all, day after, night after, really, the Pelicans beat the Dallas Mavericks, just crushed them, 131-110. This was a 30-point game for most of the second half. We're going to break down exactly what the Pelicans did differently to kind of reverse the fortunes. They looked like a different team, but they weren't. There's a difference, very minor and subtle in certain things that you saw. We're going to break it down here. Again, the number one Pelicans podcast coming to y'all like nobody else does. The wins, the losses. We're going to have Erin Summers on tomorrow's show if you're an everydayer of Pelicans.com. She's going to have some great insight onto things going on around the team. Friday, we're going to look at a trade target. See if you can guess. Let me know in the comments down below on YouTube. So let's get into this game, the 131-110 win for the New Orleans Pelicans over the Dallas Mavericks. Again, looking like a different team. And I want to put a narrative to bed right now. Willie Green did not coach this game. He's out with non-COVID illness. We don't know specifically what it was. He wasn't at practice on Monday, didn't coach this game, did coach them, though, on Sunday. Associate head coach James Borrego, former head coach of the Charlotte Hornets, who was brought in this year to be on the bench with him, was the coach in this one. This is not a James Borrego thing. James Borrego is a coach, and they all work kind of collaboratively, but you don't want the narrative to be that James Borrego should be the head coach or that Willie Green isn't, because honestly, they didn't really do very many things differently in this game. There were some things, but that's all done collaboratively as like a coaching unit. And I want to look specifically at the defense on Luka Doncic, because that's what changed this game, in my opinion. And we'll look at that in the second segment here. That wasn't James Borrego. That might be a different assistant coach. I'll let you know who that was. But don't think that, okay, well, Willie Green now sucks because look at what they do with a different guy who's your lead coach or head coach during this game. All of them kind of work together. And what I find kind of interesting when you have these back-to-back sets against a team, which they've started doing post-COVID. So 2 home games against the Dallas Mavericks here, you're actually able to make adjustments, which again, the coaching staff does as a whole. You don't normally get to do that from game to game. You kind of have your game plan of what we want to do, and that's going to be kind of rigid and the same going into every single matchup. Think of it in terms of like the NFL. You often script your first 15 to 25 plays on offense. What if you just ran the same 15 to 25 every time because you know you're good at those? That's what a lot of NBA teams do. So don't overreact to the head coach being different. You know, what you saw in this game that really helped them and what made them look like a different team was just way more energy, right? Way more energy, particularly on offense, particularly on defense. So I guess both sides of the ball there. You know, they were just flying around. They didn't come out and look lackadaisical. It looks like a team that got crushed the other night, didn't want to get embarrassed again, so they brought it. Kind of simple as that. You know, we've talked a lot about what's wrong with the offense, and we had Will Guillory on the show last week, and something Will had just kept saying was, your best players just need to play better. Really as simple as that sometimes. He just wrote an article for The Athletic that was great about Zion's comments, the show we did yesterday, and in it, he basically boiled it down to Zion and BI need to play better. Simple as that. They played better in this game, and look at what it does for you. I like to think I'm super smart with basketball. I hope you think I'm super smart when it comes to basketball and that I'm amazing at my job here. Sometimes this job is actually really easy. These guys all tried way harder than they tried in the last game. And look what happened. You know, they were hitting their shots early on. The 3-ball was falling early on, opened the court a little bit more for a guy like Brandon Ingram to come in and play one of the best games we've seen from him this season, able to be more efficient because he had more space to work. 25 points on 10 of 20 shooting. and that includes 1 of 5 from 3, so 20%, terrible there. 9 rebounds, 7 assists. He was trying on defense. We'll get into the defense in a minute with 2 steals. All of that stuff factors in. When guys are hitting their shots, Herb Jones hitting 2 threes, Dyson Daniels, a starter, hitting 2 threes, Jordan Hawkins playing significant minutes off the bench, 5 made threes. We'll get into him in the third segment here, right? Matt Ryan hitting a couple of big shots, Najee Marshall hitting one. All of those things just kind of working. You know, when you look at the Dallas Mavericks game on Sunday, they didn't hit threes until the fourth quarter. And so while it looks like they shot really well, they shot well in garbage time, which wasn't really impacting anything on the actual final score of the game as the game went on. So those numbers can be misleading when it comes to this. You know, Zion had a bit of a quiet night, but 19 points on 15 shots is actually pretty good considering he went 3 of 7 from the free throw line. If he scores 4 more points there, he has 23 points on 15 shots. He also turned the ball over twice on easy layups or dunks he had at the rim. That's another 4 points minimum there. You could have added 8 points to his total, and you're looking at 27 points on 15 shot attempts for Zion Williamson. The starters here just finally played well, hit their shots, things worked, and they won those minutes. That's what we've been waiting for with this starting unit. That's not them trying to play harder for James Borrego. This is a team that got embarrassed, went through it in practice, and wanted to come out and simply make a statement. Give them a lot of credit as a unit, the players, for responding to that disappointment that you saw. You were upset. Everyone was asking me if we were going to do an angry cast, right? The patented Locked On Pelicans angry cast. And it was valid. It was get why you were all asking that, because they looked terrible. And so they came out and made sure they didn't. They just hustled. They tried. I also have the most ridiculous stat that I'm so excited to share with you in the next segment here. You know, they did what they needed to do. You heard them talk in practice yesterday before the game. We want to get out in the fast break and run more. They most certainly did that. I got to find this. Let me see if I can find this really quickly for you here, because I want to see the disparity in the fast break numbers compared to this game, because it's going to be, I would imagine, very, very stark. I'm doing this in the moment here. Oh yes, I'm excited to share. It's a ridiculous stat that I'm excited to share with y'all in the next segment. So make sure you stay tuned for all that. You know, you get Herb Jones back, a defensive stopper. You can play defense a little bit better. Those are the things that made the difference in this game, not who was on the bench coaching the team. They were running the same offense that we've seen for the most part. You know, they also rebounded better. They gave up 20 second chance points to the Dallas Mavericks, which seems like a lot, yeah. But in general, they did a pretty good job compared to where they normally are when it comes to winning the rebounding battle, or at least rebounding better and limiting that as much as they did. They were ending possessions. And that's why they got this win. This is the Pelicans team we want to see. This is why when we talked about in yesterday's show of Zion saying, I've got to trust the process. And I said, no one's really been panicking on this team yet. They've all been even keeled, and kind of everything coming out of the locker room, whether it's the coaches, whether it's the players, they said, we know we're going to get this right. We will get this right. And then we're going to look good and we're going to win games. They got it right in this one. This is how they want to play. This is what they want to look like. And it does start very often on the defensive end. I'm going to share a stat with you that is going to do the blow your mind thing. It's great. We're going to break that down, what they did to defend Luka Doncic, coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Right now, though, I'm going to tell you about eBay Motors. Our partners at eBay Motors each week have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd, the GOAT here, to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. So whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire every week, we're going to provide you with players that are guaranteed to fit your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for us this week with eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. First one I want to mention to you here, particularly if you're in deeper leagues, is Keontae George. The Jazz have a new starting point guard, and he's tallied 20 assists in his first 2 starts. It's going to be rocking up and down with him at times, but he's probably worth grabbing, especially for the long haul, and he's going to get significant minutes. Kyle Lowry's another one, a guy you might not like for fantasy. You know, he's had minuscule usage to begin the season, but without Tyler Hero, he's had to step up, and he has, and Josh thinks that's a very strong add in your league right now. So Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win your fantasy basketball championship. And eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. I work on all of my cars. I want them running. I like driving them. If you want to get to work on time, you often need your vehicle. If you're without it, it can just mess up your life. Get the parts you need at eBay Motors, and they're going to fit. There's nothing worse than ordering a part and it doesn't fit and you're trying to hammer it in and it breaks. You don't need anything like that. I work on a 1976 Corvette. I work on my new Jeep. I order all of my parts there to either make them look cooler, to fix something that's broken. You can do it all with eBay Motors. So with over 122 million parts for your vehicle, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever it needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay's guaranteed fit, and this is my favorite part, it's guaranteed to fit you right the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your vehicle alive and on the road at ebaymotors.com. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only, exclusions apply. And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday for y'all, breaking down everything you want to know about this Pelicans team, the #1 Pelicans podcast, coming to you every single day. Become an everydayer. Support the show. Keeps it free and 5 days a week for y'all. Tell a friend about the show too. If you're an everydayer, let me know in the comments down below. When you see me at the arena, let me know you're an everydayer. I love talking hoops with all of y'all. And if you really want to support the channel, become a Locked On Pelicans insider. I was giving you some insight and everything during this game, before the game, sending you pictures, courtside, things like that. It's $4.99 a month, but you get a 14-day free trial with it. And if you don't like it, totally cool. Just cancel. The show's still going to be free in 5 days a week. But if you want to interact with me more, you can text me from this right to my phone. Definitely join the Locked On Pelicans Insiders group. So let's get back into the Pelicans' big win over the Dallas Mavericks. This was a very impressive victory for the team, just really getting things right and needed. And they did that by limiting both Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Luka, who looked great on Sunday, this might have been one of the worst games that I think I've ever seen him play. He had 8 turnovers in this game. It is a mind-blowing number. He scored 16 points on 16 shots. He had 2 assists. He was a minus in terms of individual plus minus 26. When he was on the court, the Dallas Mavericks were outscored by 26 points. That's absurd. That's absurd. The Pelicans had the right game plan for him. If you're an everydayer and you listened to yesterday's show, I kind of compared the Pelicans offense to the Dallas Mavericks offense in that game on Sunday. And what the Pelicans were doing was just double teaming Luka Doncic every time in the pick and roll. Big would come and set a screen. They would send 2 to Luka to try and force the ball out of his hands. The problem is when he knows that's coming and what you're going to do, and that's the defensive coverage you run against him, he can pick you apart because he can make every single pass. And he did in that game. Before the game, Jase Medical said, hold on here, roll with me for a moment, that they were going to throw different coverages at him, that they were going to defend him better, and that they couldn't let him do what he did last game. Now, that's not a Jase Medical thing. That's a coaching staff thing. And Jarron Collins is more or less the team's defensive coordinator. So that's a Jarron Collins thing, more so than, say, a Jase Medical, or more importantly, not a Willie Green thing. Willie Green was involved in all of the decisions on what to do when it came to defending Luka Doncic and all that. And they did that. They threw different coverages at him. They played one-on-one with him and took away the passing options for him and dared him to score. And with Herb Jones back, that becomes a little bit easier. With Dyson Daniels out there as well, that becomes a little bit easier. They tried to be a little bit more physical with him. Dare the refs to call fouls all the time. That didn't happen. He only went to the line 5 times in this one. At times they did trap him and throw 2 guys at him. And with Herb Jones and Dyson able to smother him at times too, that really worked. They hedged. They showed, I could use all of the terminology here, where they kind of sprung a defender at him just to kind of almost scare him a little bit, and then ran that defender back to go cover the guy that he was originally designed to defend. All of those different coverages just took Luka entirely out of rhythm. Again, 8 turnovers for Luka Doncic is pretty absurd. They were up on him, bodying him up. How many times was he just on the ground? Every time he was blocked, they were just playing physical against him in a way that they didn't do before, and generally just made life uncomfortable for him. And you live with, if you do that and you limit him to 16 points, if Kyrie Irving is limited to just 17 points because you're playing such good defense, if you lose the game because Grant Williams, Derek Lively, Derek Jones Jr., Tim Hardaway go off against you, you live with that. But that didn't happen because you're kind of playing the odds here, and that's how it went in this game. And by being so physical and forcing those turnovers and jumping the passing lanes, just being sharper on defense, the Pelicans were able to get into the fast break. They were able to play with pace. They didn't do that in that first game. That first game against the Dallas Mavericks, they scored 13 fast break points. I think they had 2 in the first half. You're going to lose games if that's the case. They want to get out. They want to get defensive stops and get out and run. In the fast break, you have a man advantage. It's 3-on-2. It's 2-on-1. It's 3-on-1 a lot of the times. And those are literally, when you look at points per shot attempt, like the highest efficiency thing you can get in the league is transition opportunities, even more so than free throws. The Pelicans didn't get those opportunities in that first game because they just weren't forcing turnovers or anything like that. And it was just too easy for the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks, is this serious? Only had 6 turnovers on Sunday. That's absurd. Luka Doncic in this one alone had 8. I didn't even realize that number was there. 20 turnovers for, is that right? 20 turnovers for the Dallas Mavericks in this one, 6-20. Okay. Now that they're getting turnovers, and they were live ball turnovers, so not like a shot block out of bounds or something like that, right? They get the ball and then they can get out and run. And they had, are you ready for the stat? I've teased it long enough. 46 points in the fast break. That is disgusting. They had 31 points off of turnovers for the Dallas Mavericks. That's your easiest offense you can get in the league. Getting out there, playing stout defense on this guy, on Kyrie Irving, with your best players out there, and you're able to just get out and run and you get easy points. Then you don't even need to stress about your offense at this point. They scored 131 points, and 46 of those came in fast break opportunities where they have a man advantage. Of course you're going to score when that's the case. They got out and run and ran. This is the version of the Pelicans that you have wanted to see. I also loved that it was on the purple and green court because I actually really dig it. I thought the City Edition jerseys, the black jerseys, looked really good with all of this too. Loved everything about this. Maybe it's just the in-season tournament working and the Pelicans wanting to go win an extra $1 million each or whatever it is that they get paid. Court, by the way, is way more purple in real life than it looks like on TV. I've seen pictures of it, screen grabs. It looks more blue there. It's very, very purple when you're there in the arena. But the Pelicans were able to get out and run, and that was not something that they were able to do the other night. Again, it's just the easiest offense you can get. This is why we believe in this defense, why getting defensive rebounds is important. On those defensive rebounds that they were getting, they were also running. They were pushing the pace. They were putting the Dallas Mavericks on their back heels. We talked about dictating the game in yesterday's show if you're an everydayer. Pelicans did that in this one with their defense, jumping the passing lanes, ripping the ball away from guys. This was a tremendous defensive performance, and it comes because they just raised their energy level, right? When guys are getting steals, Brandon Ingram with 2, Zion Williamson with 2, Valanciunas had 1. Herb Jones had 5 steals and 2 blocks in this game. Dyson had 3 steals. Najee, Matt Ryan, Jeremiah Robinson Earl even had 1. Sebron had 1 late in the game. All of these guys were playing hard. Najee with 2 blocks, right? Jonas with 2 blocks, including one where he just knocked Luka Doncic on the ground. Play with that level, that effort, that's really going to work. It also helps that in this game, you didn't need Jonas as much. 22 minutes from him. Derek Lively, their starting center, is a little bit undersized. So is Grant Williams when they go with him at the 5. You really only needed him for those Dwight Powell minutes, so you could run Zion at the 5, put more shooters out there on the court. So you're still able to get stops on defense because you can play smaller. And then when you get into half-court offense, you have your shooters around you. It's just the perfect combination of everything for the New Orleans Pelicans in this game. You loved what you saw from them during this one. You loved what you saw from Herb Jones. We talked about him a little bit. I want to talk more about him, but I really want to talk about Jordan Hawkins and Dyson Daniels as well, but really Jordan Hawkins. He set a rookie record in this game. I'll let you know what that was coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Right now, though, I'm excited to tell you Ibotta, like on the Pelicans jersey patch. How does free Thanksgiving sound this year? Ibotta is here to give you cash back and help make sure your Thanksgiving table is complete, because who wants turkey without the gravy? And starting November 1st, so we're in there now, for the fourth year in a row, Ibotta is giving you 100% cash back on your Thanksgiving feast. So you just add the offers in the app to redeem for everything you need to make your Thanksgiving feast complete. All you have to do is shop at your favorite retailers and upload your receipt. Ibotta is going to give you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care, pantry goods, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing, which is always a great thing. Other apps give you points. It doesn't amount to much. Ibotta, you're going to get real cash back. You can put it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. You can also get it at hundreds of online brands and retailers too. So if you're starting your holiday shopping early, go to Nike.com, Dick's Sporting Goods, Fanatics if you want more Pels gear. You can get cash back with Ibotta that way too. So download the Ibotta app, again, like on the Pelicans jersey patch, and use code LOCKED to get 100% cash back on your Thanksgiving dinner starting November 1st. Just go to the App Store or Google Play, download the free Ibotta app. I got it on my phone, and use code LOCKED. That's Ibotta, IBOTTA, in the Google Play or App Store, and use code LOCKED. And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday, the #1 Pelicans podcast, coming to y'all like nobody else does. Erin Summers is going to be on tomorrow's show. She always brings great insight being around the team on a daily basis, so I'm really excited to talk with her. If you have questions for her, let me know in the comments down below. We'll have trade talk. I got a trade target that I originally didn't like and I've come around on. Let's talk about him, who maybe the Pelicans should be eyeing. Buy low candidate, think could be a good one. That's going to be on Friday, so a fun week, remainder of the week here on Locked On Pelicans. So make sure you're in every day, or so you never miss an episode. And also, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows like Locked On NBA, which I'm about to go record. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So we're going to start to wrap up this show here as we talk about the big 131-110 win over the Dallas Mavericks. Jordan Hawkins looks like the steal of the draft right now. Victor Wembanyama is going to get all the headlines, all the publicity, all the national TV games. But Jordan Hawkins just went out and scored 25 points on going 5 of 17. He hit, I believe it's 32 threes in his first 11 games, which is a rookie record. Ben Mathurin last year hit 31 in 11 games. Jordan Hawkins is now up to 32. It might be 33. I just lost the number here. But he had more than Ben Mathurin did of the Pacers last season. That is a rookie record. This is a guy that in his 11th game as a pro, just played 32 minutes, 46 seconds, and scored 25 points and looks fearless out there. He's a shooter, y'all. He is just good. The way he moves, I might do an extra bonus film breakdown for the show, because they ran a specific play with him a couple of times where this is where movement shooter is important when you look at kind of his designation and archetype as a player. Some guys are catch and shoot. They need to be stationary. You throw the ball at them, their feet are planted, they get it in their shooting pocket, they put it up, and they shoot it and goes in. Hawkins doesn't need that. He can be moving. It's very Steph Curry-like at times. They ran a play for him and Matt Ryan, which is just super simple. That's he comes up and maybe sets a screen and doesn't have room to pick and pop backwards because they're defending him, so he just kind of moves to the side. And the ball handler's here. He's just moving to the side. Because he's moving, you just throw the ball to him. He catches it in like motion like this while he's moving to the side. It gives him extra space, and he just launches it and he makes it. They ran that for him and Matt Ryan multiple times in this game, and it worked. They connected. That's where a movement shooter, a guy that doesn't necessarily need to be just planted, set first, and can just launch a three, is so key to this. It's a way to create space to get those shots off. He's a special player. He's a special player, sharpshooter like that, and he's contributing so much more than I thought he was going to be able to contribute this rookie year. I thought it was going to be all shooting, but he was passing the ball well in this one. He was cutting off ball well in this one. He had 3 other made shots, which was great. He's rebounding at a high rate. 6 boards for him in this one, including 2 offensive boards. He got up and almost threw down a monster dunk that he bricked. That's okay, but he's got some hops that you don't realize. That dude can elevate. He's active on defense. He's trying on that side of the ball. You have to love what you're seeing from Jordan Hawkins right now. This guy's going to be a fixture in the rotation in the lineup, and there's a reason that he was playing the most minutes off the bench. He played more minutes than Dyson Daniels did in this game. That says something about how well he was playing. Also, they left him in a little bit longer than some of the other guys, too. Speaking of Dyson, you got to like what you're seeing from him. A lot of us were high on him going into the season, and that looks very correct right now. 10 points, but he most importantly made 2 threes. 2 of 5 from deep, 6 assists, moving the ball on offense, making his open shot attempts, and giving you tremendous, tremendous defense because that's what Dyson Daniels does. 3 steals on the night. It's the most outside of Herb Jones on this Pelicans team. The rookie is contributing. He's not a rookie. Second-year player is showing growth. He's shooting the ball well. You have to be really excited with the minutes that you're getting from Dyson Daniels. In the start of this one, I was like, maybe you don't start him and instead you start Jordan Hawkins because you need the shooting out there. But if he's going to make some threes, you're going to be able to win games with him. Willie Green before the season said as long as he gives you just something offensively, he's going to be a fixture in the rotation because he's so good defensively. And he definitely is showing you more offensively than we were expecting from him right now. This will put his shooting percentage close to like 36% from 3 on the season. That's fine. That'll work with the passing that he gives you, with the defense that he gives you, allowing them to really play against guys like Kyrie and Luka and have just, man, you don't want to be a point guard playing this team or a wing player playing against this team or a guard playing against this team because your entire minutes are going to be against Herb Jones or Dyson Daniels, and you're going to have to work for every second of that. Herb was a menace in this game, wasn't he? He was awesome. He was flying around. 5 steals, ripping the ball out, jumping in the passing lanes. Whatever it was, he was just there. But he also scored 19 points. He hit 2 threes. That's great. But you saw the aggression from him in this one. He's been trying to play downhill more this season, and he did. And you like that. He sees a little bit of a seam. He puts the ball on the court, and he drives, and he tacks. And he was getting fouled in this one. 5 of 6 from the free throw line will up your efficiency. So even if you're not making threes, if you're getting fouled like that and you go to the line and you're making your free throws, that is a way to contribute. Again, he does everything. 4 assists, 4 rebounds in this one. He was fantastic. Him just being back out on the court gave the Pelicans an energy boost that they have sorely needed. And that's a big reason. They won this game. You can point to so many different things. But Herb Jones being in the starting lineup, going out, contributing, crushing it in the way that he did, I think was one of the biggest reasons why I loved what we saw from Herb Jones in this. This is the type of game that makes you wonder if they can take him out of the starting lineup once Trey Murphy is healthy and ready to be back. I don't know just yet, but it's a good problem to have if your guys are playing like this. Also, great minutes from Najee Marshall, just going out there being the knife that he is. Fantastic performance all around. If they keep this energy level, this play, 46 fast break points, they're going to be able to win a lot of games. They're going to be a good team. And it was nice to see them get this done on the cool purple court. Let me know what you thought about this one in the comments down below on YouTube. Take a guess at who we're going to talk about Friday as a trade target. It's not Zach LaVine, but we'll touch on Zach LaVine. I'll be talking about Zach LaVine on Locked On NBA tomorrow, Wednesday. Make that your second listen today. That's going to do it for Locked On Pelicans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, I'm your host, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter. And I'll be back with y'all to talk with Aaron Summers tomorrow.